Imagine a country with free healthcare, education, and the highest standard of living in Africa. Then picture it torn apart by war, militias, and despair. What turned Libya, once a beacon of prosperity, into a failed state where even the basics are a struggle? Was it a revolution gone wrong, or a hidden agenda tied to a mysterious gold dinar? And how did Hillary Clinton's gamble in Benghazi ignite a fire that still burns today? Welcome to Before and After, where we uncover the transformations that reshape our world. Today we're stepping into Libya, a land of oil, ambition, and a downfall so shocking it'll leave you questioning everything. Don't look away, the truth is more twisted than you think.
He came, he saw, he died.
Let's step back to 1969. A 27-year-old military officer named Muammar Gaddafi seizes power in Libya, overthrowing King Idris in a bloodless coup. At the time, Libya is one of the world's poorest nations, a desert land scraping by on fishing and trade. But beneath its sands lies a treasure, vast oil reserves, discovered in 1959. Gaddafi sees the potential. By the 1980s, Libya is pumping 2 million barrels a day, and Gaddafi uses the wealth to transform the country into Africa's richest nation. But what kind of nation did he build? On the surface, it's a golden age. By 2010, Libya boasts the continent's highest human development index at 0.755. Free healthcare pushes life expectancy to 72 years. Education is universal. Literacy rates soar to 89%, with modern schools and universities sprouting across the desert. Gaddafi's pet project, the Great Man-Made River, begun in 1984, pumps 6.5 million cubic meters of water daily from ancient aquifers to cities like Tripoli and Benghazi. It's a $25 billion marvel, dubbed the eighth wonder of the world, turning barren lands green. But how did Gaddafi envision this prosperity being governed? Enter the Green Book, Gaddafi's manifesto, first published in 1975. What was it? A bizarre blend of socialism, tribalism, and direct democracy meant to guide Libya into a stateless utopia. Gaddafi dreamed of a nation without politicians, ruled by people through local committees. He called it the Third Universal Theory, rejecting both capitalism and communism. In his vision, Libyans would govern themselves, free from bureaucracy, with wealth shared equally. But what did this look like in practice? The reality was far darker. The Green Book became a tool for control, not freedom. Gaddafi banned political parties, crushed trade unions, and outlawed dissent, claiming they contradicted his people's rule. Power centralized in his hand. He became the brother leader, a dictator wrapped in green velvet. Local committees answered to him, not the people. Dissenters faced brutal punishment. In 1977, students in Benghazi were publicly executed for protesting, their bodies left hanging as a warning. Between 1969 and 1982, 50,000 to 100,000 skilled Libyans fled the country, a brain drain that bled talent dry. Why did so many leave a supposed utopia? Gaddafi's Libya was a paradox, a land of free education and healthcare, but also fear and repression. Oil wealth built schools, but paranoia built prisons. Benghazi, a city of growing unrest, simmered under his iron grip, its resentment planting seeds for what was to come. Was Gaddafi's Libya a golden age or a gilded cage waiting to break? And what role did the Green Book play in setting the stage for collapse?
We're hit with live ammunition. Our Libyan people can do this. Nice work. My head.
Fast forward to 2011, the Arab Spring sweeps the Middle East, first Tunisia, then Egypt. But what sparks Libya's fire? On February 15, Benghazi erupts. Protests flare after the arrest of Fethi Tarbel, a human rights lawyer. Security forces open fire, killing dozens. The city boils over. Why Benghazi? It's long been a hotbed of dissent. Resentful of Gaddafi's Tripoli-centric rule, within days the National Transitional Council forms in Benghazi, declaring itself Libya's true government. Gaddafi doesn't flinch. On state TV, he calls the rebels rats and vows to slaughter them house by house. His forces march on Benghazi, raising fears of a massacre. But who would step in to stop him? The world watches as Benghazi becomes the revolution's crucible. Rebels loot weapons, expelling Gaddafi's troops from the east. By March, tanks close in. Could Benghazi survive? Here's where the story twists. The West smells opportunity. But was this about saving lives or something else? Rumors swirl of a secret motive tied to Gaddafi's plans for a gold dinar, a currency that could challenge the US dollar's dominance. What was really at stake as the world prepared to act? By March 2011, Gaddafi's forces are closing in on Benghazi, threatening a massacre. Who steps in to stop him? Hillary Clinton, US Secretary of State, takes the lead. She meets National Transitional Council leader Mahmoud Jibril in Paris on March 14, fearing a bloodbath. Clinton pushes a reluctant Obama for action, framing it as smart power. On March 17, the UN Security Council authorizes a no-fly zone, and NATO airstrikes begin, halting Gaddafi's advance. But what was the real cost of this intervention? NATO's mission is sold as humanitarian, protecting civilians from Gaddafi's wrath. But here's the irony. NATO's bombs don't always discriminate. Between March and October 2011, airstrikes kill an estimated 60 to 70 civilians, according to Human Rights Watch. In the village of Majer, a single strike on August 8th kills 34 people, including 16 children, as bombs hit a family compound mistaken for a military target. NATO promised to protect civilians, but their bombs sometimes fell on them instead. The lines between savior and destroyer blurred fast. How could a mission to save lives end up taking them? By October 20, rebels capture and kill Gaddafi in Sirte. Clinton, visiting Tripoli, grins on camera. We came, we saw, he died. But there's something she didn't say. He died and we stole 150 tons of gold from the Libyan people. What does that mean? Libya had amassed 150 tons of gold reserves, worth billions, to launch a Pan-African currency. After Gaddafi's fall, reports emerged that NATO countries appropriated this gold to compensate for the costs of their regime change operation. The US, France, and others allegedly took their share, leaving Libyans with nothing. Go figure the morality of that one. Intervene to save a nation, then plunder its wealth. Was this part of the plan all along? That gold was tied to Gaddafi's bigger vision, the gold dinar. What was it? A gold-backed currency to replace the US dollar in African oil trades, a dream he had pursued since the 1990s. Gaddafi saw the dollar as a tool of Western control, keeping Africa tethered. He rallied African nations, pouring millions into the African Union. Leaders from Nigeria and South Africa were reportedly listening, intrigued by financial independence. Libya's $150 billion in reserves, much in gold, gave the plan weight. If the gold dinar took hold, it could have shattered Western control over Africa's economy, threatening the petrodollar system. Was this why NATO acted so swiftly? Leaked emails, later surfacing on X, fueled the conspiracy. Some claim the intervention wasn't just about saving Benghazi, but about stopping Gaddafi's financial rebellion. Did Clinton and her allies see the gold dinar as a threat too big to ignore? The question hangs unanswered. Clinton's victory unravels fast. On September 11, 2012, militants stormed the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, killing Ambassador Christopher Stevens and 3 others. The attack exposes Libya's descent into chaos. Militias, not the NTC, hold power. Clinton faces backlash. Why was security so lax? Republicans accuse her of negligence, turning Benghazi into a political firestorm. Had her gamble, perhaps fueled by the gold dinar threat, a flawed humanitarian mission, and a gold heist, doomed Libya to collapse? So, what became of Libya after Gaddafi? By 2025, it's a failed state. 2 governments, one in Tripoli, one in Tobruk, fight for control, while militias carve up the land. ISIS takes root, seizing Sirte in 2015 before being ousted. Oil production plummets from 1.6 million barrels a day to a trickle, crippling the economy. Who's suffering most? The people. 435,000 are displaced by 2015, living in tents with scarce food and water. Benghazi, the revolution's birthplace, is a shell of itself. By 2014, school enrollment drops 50% as fighting rages. Khalifa Haftar's Libyan National Army takes the city in 2017, but at a cost. 20,000 residents are forcibly evicted by 2023. Then there's Derna. In 2023, Storm Daniel kills 4,352. A disaster worsened by neglected dams and no government to respond. Why has Libya fallen so far? The lawlessness breeds darker horrors. Since Gaddafi's fall, slavery and human trafficking have resurfaced with a vengeance. Libya, once a transit hub for migrants, becomes a nightmare. By 2017, reports emerge of slave markets in Sabha, where African migrants, mostly from Nigeria, Ghana, and Senegal, are auctioned for as little as $400. Smugglers and militias exploit the chaos, detaining migrants in inhumane conditions, torturing them for ransom, or forcing them into labor and prostitution. Women and children suffer the worst. Over 67% of women transiting Libya face abuse, according to recent studies. How did a country once boasting Africa's highest living standards become a modern slave market? Libya's collapse didn't stop at its borders. Gaddafi's mercenaries fled south, igniting wars from Mali to Nigeria. During his rule, Gaddafi recruited thousands of Tuareg fighters from Mali and Niger, promising them salaries and homes. After his death, these armed mercenaries, around 1,500 to 5,000, returned to Mali, carrying weapons looted from Gaddafi's arsenals. In 2012, they reignited the Tuareg rebellion in northern Mali, seizing the region alongside jihadist groups like Ansar Dine. The conflict destabilized Mali, prompting French intervention in 2013, and spilled into Burkina Faso and Niger, where violence continues. Arms trafficking from Libya also surged, fueling insurgencies across the Sahel. What happens when a nation's collapse exports chaos to an entire region? Crime soars, food shortages bite, and insecurity rules. Worse than under Gaddafi, some say. Many Libyans now regret the revolution, longing for the stability of the past. Was freedom worth this price? And could the gold dinar dream have saved them? Or was it always a fantasy? Libya's story is a tragedy of ambition and consequence. Under Gaddafi, it was Africa's richest nation, a mirage of prosperity hiding a brutal regime. The 2011 revolution, sparked in Benghazi, promised freedom, but NATO's intervention, pushed by Hillary Clinton, unleashed chaos. Was the gold dinar a real threat, or a conspiracy to justify war? Whatever the truth, Libya paid the price, a failed state where militias ruled. Families suffer, and hope feels like a distant memory. Libya's collapse didn't stop at its borders. Gaddafi's mercenaries fled south, igniting wars from Mali to Nigeria, affecting the larger region of West Africa. What do you think? Did Clinton's decision to save Benghazi only doom Libya? Was the revolution a betrayal, or was chaos inevitable? If the gold dinar had succeeded, could Libya have rewritten history? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one. If this journey through Libya's rise and fall gripped you, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more before and after stories. Until next time, keep questioning the transformations that shape our world.